What is up, guys? It's your boy Build Crafting Cactus, and today we are going to be showcasing an incredible Arc Warlock build. Arc is eating good in Destiny 2 episode Heresy. If you guys like spamming your super, this is the build for you. Seriously, I was getting my super back so often, I was actually using it to add clear red bars because I knew I could count on it being back in only a few seconds. I mean, as you can see in the background gameplay, you can use your super in one damage phase and get it back by the next damage phase of this nether boss. Like, that is crazy how fast the super regeneration is. And again, that is just a small example of the absurdity of this build, and so let's get started. But first off, guys, I partnered with Mobalytics, your source for Destiny 2 builds. Check out the link in the description down below to see this build outlined in an easy to read, easy to understand format, including dim links. So guys, definitely check that out after you finish watching the video so you know exactly how the build works. Alright, now, first of all, this build is designed around our exotic armor piece, the Geomag stabilizers. And guys, this received a colossal buff for episode Heresy. So what it does is that damaging targets with your Chaos Reach super extend its duration. This turns your Chaos Reach into one of the best ad clearing and boss DPS supers out there. Like, it really improves the power. On top of that, collecting Ionic Traces grants you energy for your Chaos Reach, and Bungie massively increase the amount of super energy you gain with episode Heresy. And on top of that, sprinting while near max bolt charge will grant stacks over time. Now, moving on to the subclass here, of course, we're running Chaos Reach. After that, we have Healing Rift for survivability, and then we are running Chain Lightning. However, Ball Lightning is just as good, and then I love the Pulse Grenade, so I'm using it. Now, as for our aspects, we are using the brand new Ionic Sentry. So this says, defeat targets with kinetic or arc weapons or arc abilities to charge up an arc turret that periodically chains lightning between nearby targets, granting a stack of bolt charge with each hit. And on top of that, when you deploy your Ionic Sentry, it will blind nearby targets. So this actually turned out to be a really good aspect. Importantly, it does not take away any of your other abilities. A lot of other stuff like this, like Bleak Watcher, you have to consume your grenade. This just gives you a free extra turret when it's charged, so you can throw your Ionic Sentry, and if you have a charged grenade, it'll go back to being fully charged. And so the ability spam with this build with Ionic Sentry is crazy. On top of that, guys, we have Electrostatic Mind. Now, Arc Soul is an option because those kills will count as ability kills for Ionic Sentry, but listen, Electrostatic Mind is unreal for generating Ionic Traces. It says defeating targets with arc abilities or defeating jolted or blinded targets, thank you, the turret, create an Ionic Trace. And collecting an Ionic Trace makes you Amplified. This is a huge deal because, again, just this season, Amplified got a massive buff, now providing 15% damage resistance, and it makes enemies less likely to shoot you. So, we are constantly generating Ionic Traces, we are constantly getting amplified, and then we get to the fragments. First of all, Spark of Resistance for damage resistance is just extremely good. Then we have Spark of Shock. Our arc grenades will jolt, and a jolting pulse grenade is unbelievably powerful. Like, one throw of this bad boy, and frankly, you got your Ionic Sentry just with that. On top of that, guys, we have Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target or defeating a target with bolt charge creates an Ionic Trace. And then we also have Spark of Discharge. Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace, and importantly, collecting an Ionic Trace grants you a stack of bolt charge. If you've been playing the Arc Striker Titan this season, you know how busted bolt charge is, but this build also generates a ridiculous amount of bolt charge. You're going to be lightning bolting everyone while playing this build. And all of these things combine to make it so that if we shoot our arc weapons into a group of enemies, it is not uncommon to see like 3 Ionic Traces coming back with one single shot, or maybe like one grenade throw, etc. So you are getting so many Ionic Traces Which means all of those ionic traces are giving you super energy and you are just getting so many chaos reaches. Now, as for the weapons we're using, the main one here is the Delicate Tomb Exotic Fusion Rifle. So, our build is all about generating ionic traces, and if you really want to do that, the Delicate Tomb is the best weapon in the entire game for generating ionic traces. So, it says that final blows with this weapon have a chance to generate ionic traces. Powerful foes, so that's just yellow bars, and opposing guardians always generate ionic traces. On top of that, you have Tempest Cascade, which says collecting an ionic trace, and remember, that's from anywhere, not just the ones generated from getting kills with the Delicate Tomb, overcharges this weapon and makes the next shot jolt targets on hit. Guys, you are essentially jolting with every single shot of the Delicate Tomb, aside from maybe the first one. Like, that is how many ionic traces you are generating. Constant jolts. It really is absurd. And then on top of that, the catalyst makes it so that collecting an ionic trace partially reloads the magazine from reserves. Now, aside from that, guys, we are running the Song of Irute. Machine guns are extremely good this season, and you'll see why when we go over these seasonal artifact perks. And the reason I'm using the Song of Irute is just because I want another arc weapon here, guys. And honestly, you could use any arc machine gun. The Watchful Eye, the brand new one, has some great roles here. However, the reason I like the Song of Irute is, like, when you're in the Nether, you have a lot of tormentors, a lot of boss fights. The role here of target lock plus reconstruction is extremely good for boss DPS. Here's my thinking, guys. Do you really need ad clearing perks to make a machine gun capable of clearing red bars? No, like, you're gonna crush the red bars regardless. What you really need is perks that help you when you do encounter those tormentors. And so again, target lock reconstruction, super good for that. But again, any arc machine gun is going to be goated here. And then, honestly, I don't even use my primary in this build. I just either spam abilities or use those other two weapons. But we do have the Imminence here, just a good strand weapon, so we can get those unraveling rounds here. With Demolitionist, more abilities. Chaos Reshaped is really good because, again, we're using our other weapons so much. When you do eventually have to whip this thing out, Chaos Reshape will activate even when the weapon is stowed. So this is a very good weapon for the build. And then after that, guys, as for the seasonal artifact perks. First off, we've got Unstoppable Fusion, then we've got Overload Machine Guns, which remember will also exhaust enemies you shoot, making them do less damage to you. After that, we've got Anti-Barrier Sniper, just because. Then we've got Overclock and Load for our arc weapons. We've got Unraveling Orbs for our Strand primary. Importantly, Hold the Line. This will make your machine gun get increased reload speed and stability and heal you when you're surrounded. Then we really want Dielectric. Defeating arc debuffed targets, so jolted targets, will cause bolt charge. So with our extremely commonly jolting Delicate Tomb, we are going to be getting so much bolt charge from that. And then after that, guys, you really do want Flashover. So when you gain maximum bolt charge, you also get amplified, but importantly, your lightning bolts from bolt charge will deal significantly more damage. Then we've got Dreadful Finisher, so we always have ammo for that Delicate Tomb. We've got Horde Shuttle for the Strand primary. Then we've got Particle Reconstruction, because this does work with the Delicate Tomb. You can absolutely DPS with the Delicate Tomb. It cranks with Particle Reconstruction. And then we have Heavy Ordnance Regeneration, so when we're using that machine gun, we're getting better ability regen, guys. So some super relevant seasonal artifact perks. Now, as for the important armor mods here, we do have Powerful Friends, we have Ashes to Asset, and then importantly, Harmonic Siphon for our arc weapons. For the gauntlets here, we've got Focusing Strike and Double Impact Induction. Then for the chest, it's really just whatever resistance is depending on the activity you're doing. After that, we have Double Arc Weapon Surge, because we're just cranking with the Delicate Tomb all the time. And then lastly, guys, we've got a Bomber, a Reaper, and a Powerful Attraction. So overall, this build is incredibly good at generating ionic traces. which combined with the Geomags means we are incredibly good at getting our Chaos Reach non-stop. And this is such an amazing build for the Nether. Having as many Chaos Reaches as we do means that you can use them when you encounter one of the more difficult objectives. For example, the two subjugators, one suspends you, the other freezes you. Like, those guys are so annoying. Well, not if you can rip into them with a Chaos Reach. And then you're gonna get your Chaos Reach back in time for the boss, right? If you have the Tormentor shoot off its shoulder pads, and then your Chaos Reach will do great damage against the Tormentor or whatever other boss you're facing. But on top of that, guys, remember what Ionic Traces do at a base level. When you collect them, they give you ability energy. So as a result, you are also spamming your abilities with this build, right? Like, it is not like we are Chaos Reach or nothing. Our neutral game is constant jolting pulse grenades, constant melees, and constant Ionic sentries with the blinding, with the building of bolt charges, right? Because we are converting all those Ionic Traces into bolt charges as well. We are converting jolted kills into bolt charges. All of those abilities that we're spamming are bolt charge discharging lightning bolts into everybody. So we've got tons of abilities, we've got tons of bolt charge, tons of, those massively damaging lightning bolts. Our neutral game is fantastic, but on top of that, we get to bolster our neutral game with an incredible amount of Chaos Reaches. Overall, this is such a good build for the vast majority of Destiny 2 PvE activities. Again, especially the Nether. The one thing we lack a bit is survivability. We don't have a ton of healing other than our Healing Rift, and of course, picking up orbs, but if you change your runic upgrades so that the healing orbs you collect are more powerful and they give you an overshield, honestly, you're good to go. And the other benefits of this build completely outweigh a little bit of a lack of survivability. Guys, that is it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.